वेरी गुड मॉर्निंग ऑल ऑफ यू। कैसे हो आप लोग? सब बढ़िया? ठीक है, चलिए। So last session we gone through the things that we should know about AR, VR, XR and all. And we have in our studio Mr. Shubham Kumar Maurya, and he'll be taking us through a hands-on session today. So before we move on, we should like it is an advice for you guys to just check out the last video on WebVR, and you can easily find it on our YouTube channel. And okay, so nice. So before we start up something, let me add you. Let me help you guys. Like, okay, if you guys move on to menti.com and give this code, and can you kindly let us know where you guys are from? Okay, let's see. We got audience from where and where. You guys just need to go to menti.com. It's written here. Okay, menti.com, and use the code 4917229. Nice. We got someone from Vinod. Vinod is everywhere. Like I just want to share, like last time I was playing CTF with my team, and the most of the question was related to Vinod only. He is the most famous guy nowadays. I just think like how that people will do who got their name Vinod and are in schools. Okay. So guys, this stream will be live, so you can anytime visit this part and just check out. Okay. Uh, okay. And one more thing, if you guys just give me some time, okay. So I just want to mention is that, like, if you find some of the terms in this session, and if you find like some of the important terms in the session, you just guys note it down, and in the last we'll be opening this kind of Menti board. Okay, we got someone from Lucknow. Hi from Lucknow. Okay, Kolkata. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. We got Kolkata, Lucknow, and Binod. Nice. Okay. Coming back to our stuff, if you guys find some terms, so in the last we'll be opening this kind of board where you guys can write up that terms, so that it will be kind of summary for this stuff, like what are the points we have covered out. Okay. So moving on to our session that we should start now. Okay. So over to you, Shubham.
Yes. Thank you, Pradhan. So, hi guys. If you joined yesterday's session, thank you. And if you're continuing or just new to this session, let me introduce myself. I'm Shubham Kumar Maurya. That's why there's the SKM uh, showing as my name. Yeah. And today, what we will be learning, let me share my screen and show you. Uh, just a minute. Uh, is my screen visible? Yeah, now it is. Okay. So I showed this last time too, uh, but to all the uh, to all the people who are new and who have come today, this is the thing that we are going to build. This is a lighthouse, and lighthouse by the ocean. Basically, that's the hand-on session we are going to do. We are going to add these waves, the sky. There's there's the fog element also. Then there's the rotating lighthouse. These two models that you see, the lighthouse and this a rock. This is external models which we are going to import. Ocean is kind of, let's say, external library for this A-frame. This is not with like built-in standard system of A-frame. This is how we learn how we can include any external libraries in it. And then there's this rotation, which would teach you the basics of how to do animation in A-frame. And then there's this sky, which we will learn how to implement. And then there's the fog element. When you just go away from it, you see the fog, and that's the sky basically what we are talking about. Sky is this, and this is the ocean. You can see. I'll teach you how to navigate in this. This is very similar to how you do it in games, just WASD keys. And let me just talk about what is on the screen basically. This button that you see here, VR, if you click it, you go full screen, and that is basically the uh, VR mode. Now, uh, in this setup where I have not connected any VR headset to my PC or laptop, this would go just full screen. But if you have anything connected to your device, this will lead to that, the display of two lenses. Yeah, that kind of VR display. This will lead to that. This will feed the data to your VR headset. That's just it. That this button. While you are in desktop mode, how you can navigate? Let's talk about that. So first you need to just have a mouse, and mouse, keyboard, anything can work. WASD is the key, which you can just go. W is forward, S is backward, A left, D right. That's the that's the basic, right? And to look around, you just have to left click and just drag. Left click and drag. That's how you can see in desktop. Just left click and drag and just use WASD keys to move around. Yeah. So that is the basic movement, how you can move in A-frame. By the way, you can increase the speed and decrease the speed by which you move. So yeah, I'll teach you that in a moment. Then there's this slide and how to import these models and everything. So yeah. You can see there's another thing. If you were in last or yesterday's session, you would have seen I talked about this a bit. What is this? Let me magnify it. Uh, just a minute. I don't think we can see this. Anyways, uh, this is basically, yeah. Now we can see it, right? You can see this is the FPS, that is the frame rate for which scene is like rendering, on which the scene is rendering. RAF is just the latency between the frame. In Yes, you can see I it's about like 20 something. Yeah. Then there's this 3JS memory. Now A-frame, like we talked yesterday, A-frame is a framework that is built on top of uh, 3JS. So what it does, it deploys all the 3JS libraries and tools to build these kind of things. It's it's an HTML entity component system, A-frame, but it deploys 3JS tools underneath. Like under the hood, it is just 3JS working. And to all of you who don't know what 3JS is, 3JS is a library uh, built using JavaScript for rendering 3D scenes in the browser, which is quite fascinating. That you can do like amazing stuff with 3GS. You can create games, you can create VR experiences even without A-frame. So yeah, so that's the basic thing. You don't have to know too much about it, but just keep in mind that you need to have the understand what FPS means. You need to reduce the latency, that is REF value, so that you can actually uh, experience better results. Now, since I have multiple monitors connected, like two monitors, that's why I get low frame rate, about like 60 FPS, because my GPU is working for like both the computers, both the monitors. So yeah, if I disconnect one, let me show you. You can see I can easily reach up to 144 FPS. So that's the thing. Last time we talked about the importance of VR and importance of frame rate, high frame rate in VR. Yeah. Now it will drop to. Yeah. Oh, it's great. You can still use it. Nice. So yeah, the importance of high frame rate in VR is just that it has to match reality, right? Reality, as we see it, is very fluent. The motions are very fluent, very smooth, very fast. So all you have to do is just like, yeah. So all you have to do is to match high frame rates, and the ideal frame rate for uh, like any VR experience would be above 90 frame rates. 60 frame rates per second is, you can see 60 frame rate. 60 frame rates per second is just bare minimum. Like that's need to be. Still, you won't feel that that much fluent motion in 60 frame rates per second in VR in interactive graphics. Interactive graphics is like this. These are interactive graphics, and then there's the static ones, that the movies and all that. You can still manage to figure out and just do stuff in low frame rates in the movies and all that. But in interactive VR experiences, you can't just do that, because that would increase uh, latency and all that, and you will feel sick. That's the basic idea. All right, so let's just go for it. Let's break down the scene and let's create it. Okay. So here's the code. I hope you can see this code. Okay. Okay. Before that, you can actually, there's two sites that we are going to refer, and I suggest you go to that too. Like this is, yeah, Aframe. You can see official website of Aframe. So aframe.io is the URL for that. You can go to aframe.io and you will uh, visit this page. Now there are these examples that you can see, and you can experiment with these if you want. And this symbol, this is for controllers. So if you have a VR headset that has controllers like HTC Vive, Oculus Quest, Rift, all that, so you can do this like PSVR. I believe PSVR gives you can connect to TV and then use Android on it. But yeah, so you can use these controllers if you have, and these are the basic. Uh, you can see examples. Let me just open one for you. Yeah, this is an example of 3D image, 360-degree image. So you can see, you can just, if you were in VR, you can just move around, you can feel and just see everything around you. So yeah, these are the examples, you can go through it. And then there's this brackets which we are going to use uh, to write our code. Now why brackets is because it gives us this feature, that is the live preview, and we are going to need that because some of these A-frame libraries or Aframe dependencies, you can see they require a server to run. That's just how they work. So you are going to need something, kind of a local server, just to deploy it. And this live preview does the same for us. So you all you have to do is just download brackets from here, brackets.io, download it, install it, and you're good to go. Just open whatever you want to write, and you're good to go. If you don't want to install brackets and still want to write code, there's the website glitch glitch.com. You can see, yeah, this is the website. You can just click here, join, and log in with any kind of account that you fancy, GitHub, Google, or whatever. You can create an account and just sign in with any of these, and you are good to go. Just sign in, and yeah, let me. It's okay. So just sign in, and you will be provided with an editor to write, and on the right side you will see the live preview. So yeah, this site is also good. If you find anything like that does not work or you don't understand, you can just ask me. I can show you. Yes. Yeah. So I'll I'll give you guys like 2 minutes or so to just figure out what you want to do. And do you want brackets or glitch? Uh, and you can just install it, and we'll set up the things, and just start writing our code. And also, there's this GitHub repository link you can see, can go to. I believe they have posted it in YouTube description. You can just go to this repository. You'll see this folder 38. This is today's date, Lighthouse, and you'll see all the codes and any image or model that we are going to use. It's already here, so you don't have to just mm, you can actually see the code for yourself. Even if you just want to follow along and you can't write code right now, you can just go to this repository, download it or clone it, or just use it. So yeah, that's the repository, and the link is in the description, and you can just go to it. And that's the intro, like yesterday's PDF that I shown in the session. Yeah, so you can download that too. All right. So yes, just go set up a glitch account or download brackets, whatever you want. I'll just give you 2 minutes. Okay.
Okay, by the time we just start the stuff, I just want to mention that we have again opened this menti.com at with the code of 4917229. So you guys can just move on to there, and you just can mention what are the terms you just have heard, or you can mention the stuff which you have heard in the things, so that we get a nice word board in the last, which will be helpful for others. Okay, whatever technologies like frame rate, I just heard a frame rate, so you guys can mention that stuff.
Yeah, and if there is any question or something you want to ask, or you want to just share your knowledge, just go ahead, do that. And if you want anything specific to ask from me or any member of DSCkiit, just you can just do that. Use the comment section. Even though it's not an in-person like session, but you can still interact. It would be great, like if you guys are sharing what you think, and if there is any doubt or something. So yeah. you have slow internet connection, using glitch would be better because it's on a website. You don't have to do much work. So we go ahead. Let me just share my screen. I have opened the glitch. It's loading. I'll just sign in with my account. Let me go to my account. Yeah, I have this. Now, this is the page that you will see, but if you zoom in here, you can see there's a new project uh, button. Just click on it. What kind of this you want? You just want a web page. So, hello web page. The project is loading. Yeah, this is this. Uh, this is the yeah. Like I think you can see it now. This is the glitch project, and this is the folder assets where everything that you want you can upload here from your computer. You can just upload it here. You can see like drag it. It's very simple to use. It's very intuitive. And then this is the README file that you can actually integrate this with your GitHub. So you can just go and like use this as a GitHub repository too. So that really helps. You can see this. Okay, and that's the HTML page. You can write code here, right? You should do that here. JavaScript if you want, CSS. It actually basically it initializes everything, which is good. Now you can use glitch to write down the code, or you can just watch me do it in brackets, and you can just follow along, or just um, wait, and as the session end, you can just try it yourself, right? All right, so let's just start. And yeah, don't forget to use the GitHub repository. There's the code here. You can also just see this A-frame. This we are going to use this a lot because this is a very well documented framework, and you can see these are the uh, like companies, or you can say organizations that use A-frame, among with Sony, Samsung, NASA, Mozilla, Ford, Google. Like there's so much good like companies, and it's a really reliable framework. So just click on docs here. You can see docs, or you can just go to aframe.io/docs, and it would lead you to the latest documentation, that is 1.0.0. That's the version here. You can see you can just go from like choose any version that you are working on. I suggest sticking with the latest framework version. That would do. And yes, here it is, the boilerplate code. If you don't know what boilerplate means, it's just basically uh, the starting code, or believe think of it as just the code that you are going to use again and again. That's just set up once and use like multiple times. That's the code. And there are other things that are added here. You don't need these. Let me just show you what do you need to actually create a, an A-frame website. It's very easy. You just need few code. Let me just create a new folder here. Let's say uh, a session. Okay, let's just create a new project here. Yeah, let's go new file, and you can just copy paste this if you want, or you can just uh, write it all yourself. Like I said, it's just a boilerplate, so I don't mind copy pasting it. I mean, it's something that you would see so much when you start making these projects, that you will just remember it, and it's something that you should not care about. But I'll still show you what this means. So yeah, let's call it index dot html and save it. Yeah. So first, this is like this script tag. Let's just remove this. This is the basic HTML, let's say, uh, frame that actually creates an HTML page, right? There's the HTML tag, there's the head tag where everything dependencies and all descriptions, metadata that goes in here, and there's the body tag where this is the main part where everything is added, like everything that you can see. So what what you need to actually initialize a frame on your like web page, all you need is this. So let's just do this. Let's go here, and this is the HTML tag or the script tag that you need to initialize a frame. Now the a frame, like this is the version, release version 1.0.4, and this is minified.js. Min.js means it is just the minified version of a frame, that is the basic functionalities. Most of the time you would use this, but if you want to use A-frame for deployment, or you want to add something more to it, you can just go to their uh, GitHub repository. You see installation page. Yeah, this is how you install A-frame on uh, like browser. Just yeah, hit this. With just this tag, you have a frame on your web page. But if you want, you can also use npm and all. That is Node.js package manager. You can see install from npm. Yeah, and you don't have to like work on this, or you don't have to understand this if you are not a web developer. It's okay. I mean, you can work with this. So yeah, this is uh, just this is A-frame initialized, like A-frame embedded in your mm, website. Now just create an A-frame, like let's create an A-frame like web page, right? This is just script tag. We have not used anything. So let's just like start the live preview and see what happens. Now this is just a blank page. There's nothing here. But let's let's just see what happens when we do this. A scene. See, there's this VR button that we talked about in our like previous uh, like the scene I showed you. There was a VR button, and now you can see this, like the grabbing uh, cursor. So you can feel that now this is an A-frame scene. It has created a scene for us, and that's how, just in 12 lines of code, even with new lines or next line included, just in few lines of code you have created a VR scene. Now this is VR. If you would connect a VR headset, what you would see is, well, nothing, but yeah, what you would see is in VR. It would be in VR. Let's just click here. Now, before doing anything, let's just think, what would this VR button do? Uh, well, you can say that this VR button would launch us into VR mode. And yes, that's true. And let's see what happens. Yeah, the screen went black. Now, why black is because right now there is no surrounding, there's no sky, there's no nothing. So if there is nothing, it's just black. It shows that there is nothing in this, but it shows us white in here, right? This is because this white is the color of this body tag. By default, the body tag shows us a white color. If we would to change, let's say, um, style, and just change it to the color or background color to black. Now you see that has changed. That's the reason why this looks white when we didn't do anything, and just when we popped up into VR mode, we saw this. Yeah, so we don't need this right now. All right, so let's we have added this. Now let's add some more things. So this is how you create a scene in A-frame, a VR scene. Now, if you have anything, any doubt or something, or if you want to know anything, you can ask me, or I'll just give you about half a minute, and then we'll proceed to add some more items in it. So if you want, you can just go ahead, use the comment section. Okay, so I think we are good here. Okay. All right, so let's just add something. Now, what we can add, let's see. I told you that we are going to use this uh, documentation a lot, and I suggest you do that. You can see there's so little here. Like there's there's advanced stuff too, but you don't need to go there that much. Like that's really specific. If you ask me, if you want to do something very specific, that's when you're going to go like these things, like yeah, raycaster renderer and all that. You don't need to do that. So let's just add some basic stuff. What we can add? Well, uh, how about adding a sphere, right? Or a box, anything. Now, remember this is like A-frame. It is an entity component system. Now, what does that mean? Is that uh, this that this is this is an entity, like what kind of object it is. It is a box, and this there's the prefix a. You'll see this, and you can recognize that this is only for a frame. So there's the a box. That means this is a box means it's a box, but it is a box for a frame. Now why it is for a frame is that objects in VR is different than objects in any other 3D scenes. You need to render them differently. So that's why it is a different kind of like thing. You can't just pop in any kind of like object that you use in HTML and expect it to work in A-frame, because objects in A-frame are different than objects in other frameworks. Yeah. So let's just add a sphere. So let's go. You can see this is the entity a sphere. Let's add it. You can just go a. Oh, yeah, you can see this. And now you will see that there's a weird thing like a. If you pull, like if you drag like down, click and drag down, you can see there's something. Now let's move. We can see there is something. It looks like a sphere when we move around it, but it does just because of this lighting. It it just shows like weird. It looks weird, right? So, and why is it like underneath us? That's one question, right? That is because uh, the the coordinate system that A-frame uses. Now let's just look at what kind of coordinate system A-frame uses. First of all, you can just go to this entity component system to understand how these things work. But this is only for like very uh, detailed understanding of the system. You don't need this, you can just go and do this, but I suggest you do that because learning any framework is easy, but knowing how it works, that's the essence. Then you would be able to do something that no one else can. So yeah, do that. Let's just see the coordinate system that A-frame uses. Well, I can name it. It's the right-hand coordinate system, but let me show you what does that mean. Yeah, I think there's X, Y, and Z here. Yeah, you can see this. Uh, this is the yeah, well, the the coordinate system. That is, if you put your hand like this, let me show you like this. Yeah, your thumb would point to x-axis, like to this should be towards you, like the your like middle finger, it should be towards you. Then it is like facing the right direction. So your thumb would be pointing to x direction, that is positive x. Y would be pointing upwards, that is your index finger, that is the positive y. And your middle finger would be positive z. So this is the component system that A-frame uses, and all you need to do is just understand these values, uh, and how these like coordinate system would work. You would just see how they work right now. Let's see. Let's go back to here. Keep that coordinate system in mind, and you'll see how this works. So let's just add. This is the entity. Now let's add some component to it. So let's add position. Okay, now we have added a component. Now this is a component. Position is a component for this entity, and right now it's x, y, and z. This is x, this is y, and this is z. All of them is set to 0. That is the origin, and that's why it is here just underneath us. And if you are wondering why you are not on 000, or that is the origin, that is because the default camera in A-frame, that has a height or user height of 1.6 meters. That is the average human height. So you need to keep that in mind. You need to take height of the user into account when you are providing a VR experience, because if they are standing and they are seeing things like from the perspective of the floor, like they, even though they are, let's say they are 1.7 meters tall, and they are seeing it from 0 meters, that would look weird. Because in VR, this is basically like reality, but computer generated. So think about this. Even if you are standing, you are not seeing like from your eye level. You are actually your eye level drops to the floor, and now you're seeing all these things from the floor. So you would see your bed would look like gigantic. It would look so weird. So yeah, you need to keep that in mind. You need to have the user height in mind. According to that, you can show that experience. That's why you are just above about 1.5 meters this. So let's just do it. Let's just put like z to move anything forward in this A-frame or any this right hand component system. You would need to use a negative value. Why negative value? Because when this z-axis is facing you, that's the positive z-axis. So if you want anything to come towards you, you should be adding some positive value. And if you want anything to go away from you, you would add negative value. So yeah, we want this sphere to go forward us, that is away from us. So let's add, let's say, minus 3 meters. Okay, now let's see, here we have, here we have it. But let me just change the color of it so we can see much better. Now for color, you might think that okay, just add a color component, just add that color part and we are done, right? But that's not how colors in 3D work. I mean, you can add, but what you should be doing is actually adding a material component. Now what is a material? Let me just add material component. Yes, now we can add color, and let's say red. Just refresh it. You can see this is red. Now what is material? Let's see what material actually is. So go here on the documentation of Aframe, just type materials. You can see materials. Yes, click. Now you have this. Now you can read it if you want. Like, material component gives appearance to an entity. Now, if you are a 3D modeler or game developer, you would know what material actually is. Material is basically how a 3D object looks. That is material. That that is the basics of what material is. Now, there's a lot of things that goes into materials to actually make them look like the way they do. You can see we can define properties such as color, opacity. Opacity is just how much. Yeah, that was my Grammarly popping up. That's that's a good tool. You should use that. Opacity is just how much transparent anything is. So a value of 1 is just opaque, completely opaque, no opacity, and 0 is completely like see-through. You can't just, it's invisible. That's it. Texture now. Texture is a it's a good term. Like, texture should, uh, I would say it's an intermediate thing. uh, for the people who understand it, it's good. For those who don't understand, let me just tell you this, that the basic color and all, yeah, that's one part. And then there is some images that you see on models. Let me just show you this. uh, this is lighthouse. Yeah, you can see this, these image, there's these image of the plaster that has been worn off, and then there's the uh, broken bricks and all. These images, yes, these you can call as textures. Now there's more to textures, but right now just understand them as this. Everything that you see in game, uh, those things, those details, everything that is fake used, uh, that are fake. And the details you see, like the depth in this, like, if you think I would have modeled this, if you know 3D modeling, you would know that if you go to model these kind of details in your 3D model, it would be disastrous. It would be so much detail that some computers uh, won't even be able to just run these, render. So let me show. This is the model. And last time we talked about polygon, the polygon count, that is low poly and all. You can see here it is 478 triangles. That's it. So it's very low poly. You can see, oh, there's the background noise. But you can see that there's so much less amount of detail in it, so that our VR scene can render it easily. You need to have low poly scenes in VR right now, because the tech and the algorithms are not like so advanced. So you need to have these. Yeah. So this is what it is. Like, textures is this, the images. So here we have it. Like, we have added the texture material. there's other thing that can be added, and yes, you should be able to just add other components. So yeah, this is like one uh, this is how you add one component, and you want to, if you want to add other component, you can just go here, copy, or just paste and just write it another component. Let's see, let's make it a box of color blue. Yeah, let's refresh it. Now the box is right now. If we go here, oh no, we can't go inside it. Let's just place 5 meters here. Just refresh it. Now you can see the box is above here. Actually, the box was inside the sphere at that time. That's why you won't. That's why it was not showing. So yeah. 2 meters you can see. That's the height above 0, 0, 0. So what is happening is what happening is right now is on x-axis we don't want any movement for the box. Right? It's just in front of us, right in front of us. No left or right movement. If you want your box to move, let's say 1 meter left, all you have to do is just add one. Oh, that's the positive part. Yeah, we were talking about the component system, and X points to, like your thumb points to positive X. So if you want it to move left, you need to go negative. I'm sorry for that. So -1, and you would go like here, left, and for positive one, it's just right one. So yeah, you can just play with these values to actually see where you can place these. So now we are done with like adding multiple objects in it. So let's add the very first. Let's start building our scene. It's very easy once you know these basics. Now let me delete all this, and let's just add one thing. Let's start with adding a sky. Okay, so right now we need to add, let me just copy paste the code. We need to add a sky. Now right now it has went all black because the image that we are talking about is this image. This does not exist right now in our folder, so why not just bring this image in our folder. So yeah, and let's see. Yeah, so now this the image is there, and once you refresh it you can see it. Now let me show you this. This is the image. This is our uh, like the page that we are working on. So this is how you actually add a sky here, and you don't need to understand this right now. Just this would do. How you add a sky is just go type a sky, and sky is basically a skybox. It's a sphere. Like I told you, you saw that a sphere when we actually popped out of that world. You should have seen that sphere, and that was the sky. This is basically what sky means. It's a sphere with texture on it. That is the image on it, and this is the image that we are talking about, right? So now you can move your camera, move your head, and you can see that there's different things here. This is the sky that we are going to use, and we are okay with it. Now let's add some animation to this sky, right? Let's just paste it here. Now what are you can, yes, definitely you can add other components to it as well. Just as we added one component as the position and material, multiple components. You can add this. You can just, if you zoom here, or you can just add it like alongside each other, just using space. I prefer to use like this. Yeah, I prefer to use this next line thing so that it is more readable. Yeah, so now you can see there is, this is the thing. Now here it is, it's rotating. If you are not, how we can add animation is just this. All you need is this component, animation component, and you're good to go. Animation component, and now you need to specify what kind of property that you want to animate. So in that component, you should write what kind of property it is that you want to animate. So property is rotation. So right now, this animation component is attached to this sky. So whatever we would do, this animation would affect that, like parent entity, parent uh, entity. This animation component would affect that parent entity. So we want to affect its rotation, and we want to give it a 360-degree rotation. So from uh, from is just the default value, that is 000. It would act for both position and rotation. So we want to give it a rotation 2 and rotate it to 360-degree on y. Now y-axis is that, if you saw the entity component, the right hand rule for the coordinate system, you would have seen the y-axis like this. Y-axis was pointing upwards, so that's the axis we want to rotate our sphere around, so that it would go from left to right. See, so that's how this is going to work. And this is just dur is duration, in milliseconds, that much of duration you want to add. Now think about if we increase the duration, I mean decrease the duration, so this would go much more faster, like you see. And this could just become like too much, uh, like you can get dizzy, basically. Yeah. And to understand more deeply, you can just go here, animation, documentation, and just understand it. You see, yeah. Look at this, the position and all. So we want animation, like we want to animate this box. So we just add an animation component to it. We want the property. Which property you want to animate? Well, in this case, this is position. And then there's 2. We want to animate it from 000 to, actually, this is the like end coordinates. And duration is just 2 seconds. Easing is one function uh, which basically means how do you want your animation to start and stop. Now linear does not have any kind of like growth, or any kind of easing in or easing out kind of like function to it. And which means is that all it would do is just go and increase the, like, from position from 000 to this, using just simple integer increments. There would be no, like, from 0 you would go, let's say for if there would be another, like, easing function, you would go from, let's say, from 0 to 500 millisecond. This would be easily growing up, and then suddenly it jumps up. That would not happen in linear, it would be constant. All right. Loop, you can add loop true, means it would be looping forever. Yeah, that's it. That's the basics of animation. That's really easy. If you want to go, you can just understand it. So yeah, so we have basically set up our this animation for this sky. Now we should add other things such as model, right? Now you would think that I showed there was a stats thing in here, like when we started. So to add that, I suggest you always add that, because performance is very important in Aframe. So you can see the stats is all you need to know. All you need to do is just in scene, add space and add stats. It would do
this, like, yeah, the stat would be up there. You can click on these uh, like headings to just collapse it if you want. Okay, use them. Triangles, this thing you see in red, this is basically number of triangles in your scene. Right now it is about 3968, so about, let's say, uh, about 4000 or something. So yeah, this is basically how much detail is uh, in front of camera right now. Now it is going to increase, just see. So what we need to do right now is actually introduce or just add our models. So the way we do it is actually, first we need to preload our models, like 3D models. Any game or anything you do, it's just preloaded first. So how do we do it? Is just go a assets, and you are, this is, and anything that you're going to use, it's called asset, and you can just just go for it and just look for it, and you will understand assets. Now why I'm just going back and forth to documentation is that I need you guys to just go for it, like it's just one session. So even though I can teach you how to do some things, uh, going into this documentation to understand how that works, that is actually how you are going to make some exceptional things. Okay, so yeah, this is the asset. This, what it does is, you can see, it preloads the assets. So that is when your site is loaded. First, these things are loaded, and then any other things would do. Like it would load any other things. This is a very good feature for like doing this, because these assets can be like huge in size. So yeah, if it loads it, it's great. Let me just add asset. Uh, Now to add 3D model, all you need is just a as asset item. This is what you need. This is what a 3D model is, right? A asset item. Now you can add. I'm just going to copy paste this code because we don't have much time, but still we can do it. So yeah, a asset item. All you need to have is just add an ID to it and add a source that is where that model is located. So let's just pop in our models here. Here we have it. These are the models. I have also added this to the GitHub repository so you can download it. These are the textures that have been used here. So yeah, this is the model. You can view that in your 3D model inspector in Windows. Yeah, so this is the model, and now what we have done in our code, we have actually added a model with ID of terrain. Terrain is just this like any kind of mountain or something like that. You can just understand it with this. So we have done this. We have added the model, and GLTF is the file format supported or like recommended for Aframe. Support. There are many file formats supported for Aframe, but this is recommended. So this is that we have added one model, and let's just place that model into our scene. Right? We have preloaded it. We have not yet used it, so you can see this. There is no uh, there's no model. It's just empty sky. So let's just add this. Sorry, uh, here it is. Yeah, now you can see. Now you're inside that model. So this is the code for uh, adding a, a 3D model. What you need to do is go here, a entity. A entity, if you do this, you can just add any kind of entity in it. You just need to specify what kind of entity it is. So right now we are saying that it is a GLTF model, right? And what is the GLTF model? We need this ID for this. Terrain is our GLTF model, and uh, this is how you access any model. Now, right now, it has been added in our scene, so you can see it. You can just save it and just refresh it. Right now, it has been added, and we are inside of that model. So we don't. This does not look good for this reason. So now what we need to do is we need to add a scale component. Now, what does a scale component means? Now, scale means how big of the component or how big the entity is actually is. So scale the default value is 1, 1, and 1, which means it does not do anything with the size of it, the entity or the 3D model that we added. When we change the scale value, it just multiplies that and increases it. So let's say this is let's say about 4 inches, or let's say 3 inches by 6 inches, the phone this is. And if we scale it twice, it would be now 6 inches to uh, 12 inches, like in dimension. So that is what scale does. So if there is a sphere of about, let's say, 1 meter in radius, and if we scale it on all the three axes by 2, then the sphere would be of 2 meter radius. So this is how scaling works. Like scaling is just basically shrinking or expanding the size of uh, any entity that we have. So we scaled it, and now it is just small. And what we need is just add position. So now we can change its position if we want. Right now I'm just using the default position, that is 000, because I'm going to relocate my camera. So now let's do that. Let's just add another camera to it. Now this is the code. Now you see, I just popped in the code, and now you are above this. So now what have we done actually is we this is the code for camera. What have we done is actually we added the camera. This is the camera, and we added a rig to it. Now what does rig means? Rig in any like this film industry or anything, if you know game industry, you would have heard this term. There's like a frame which is used to move the camera. So all you need to do is just uh, add a rig or any other component and assign the position value to it, because when you are using like camera, it it actually overrides that position value. So you can't just pop in position value here. I mean, that's how the camera works in uh, like A-frame and any other of like system. That's why you need to have an entity that is it is just an empty entity. It does not have to do anything. All it does is just provide the position to our camera. So what it does is actually 20 meters up and 20 meters left. It just provides this like position to our camera. And now we can just add this camera, and we can just provide its ID and make it a camera. And look controls is just you can control the things around you using like just by looking at it. WOSD controls, I told you that how to navigate it. And you can actually increase the acceleration speed using this. If you increase it to like 10,000, see what happens. Yeah. We are so fast right now. And if we decrease this, it just decreases the speed. And I'm okay with 1,000 right now. Yeah. So this is how we add uh, a new component, and this is called nested component. And nested components, the the use of nested component is basically whatever the property of the parent, that is, you see, this is the parent one entity, and inside that this is the child entity, that is the camera. So that is, the rig is just the frame which provides the position to an object which is a camera. So that's how this uh, nested system works. This position would be inherited by this camera too. That's why we need another, uh, let's say, another entity which provides us the position value. Think of it as this, like, if I would have uh, placed this, like, this is a camera. If I would have placed this on a frame, and I just took that frame 10-meter above the ground, the camera itself moves 10-meter above the ground. That's how this works, right? So this is how it works. And a entity is just, let's say, it's a general, uh, it's a it's just a general component, a general entity that you can use. And just all you need to do is just provide what kind of entity it is. Like right here we have written, like, this is an entity of type camera, and now we have given its ID, we have given its control and all. That's just how it works. You can find this. And the reason why I'm not just typing it like with you is that, like, time is a factor, man. What can I do? So yeah, you can here go and just search for camera if you want, and you will see this. Yeah, you see this position. Now if you try to add any other thing, it would override this. So, and it would just stick to it. That's why you need to add uh, a rig to it, a frame to it, and that's what they have explained here. Okay. So yeah, you need to go in properties. You can see these are like the different properties here. Yeah, and this is the default camera. Yeah, this is how you can just understand how these things work. So yeah, we have added this. We have added the component. Let's just look at it. Yeah. All right. So we know how to add a model to our scene. Now let's just add another model. How do we do this? Just copy, paste, and just change what model we need to add. Right now we need to add the lighthouse, and we need to just use this GLTF. The benefit of using GLTF is that it you don't have to specify where its textures are. So let me just wait a minute. Hello, I think this the sound is not like very audible. Okay, so this is like how you add another model. GLTF is useful because you don't have to specify where these textures are. GLTF takes care of it. All you need to do is just add this GLTF model, and everything would be fine. Okay. Now let's change the identity to, let's say, lighthouse, right? We have preloaded the lighthouse model. You can see all you need to do is just add this model to our scene. Okay. How do we do this? We just copy this part, a entity, and what kind of entity it is? It is a GLTF model which has the ID of lighthouse, right? Now, since we have added this, we can just see here. This is our lighthouse, which is very much uh, into like this. This is just embedded inside of it. Now what we need to do is we need to add one more thing, position, to actually move it upward. Let's add the position. So this is here position. What we need is we need, let's say, 10-meter above the ground. And we are we are done. It's a 9. Nah, 9 is not good. 9.5. Yeah, this looks like that. We are good with 10. So 10-meter above the ground, and uh, we have added our this lighthouse. So basically, uh, this is where we have added our models, our sky, everything. All we need is the ocean and some finishing touch, and we are done. So if you guys like up till now, if you have anything to say or share or anything you want, just tell me. And let's just look at the triangle count right now. You remember it was about 4,000, like 3,900 or something. Now it is now it has reached 5,000. That's how this works. You need to minimize this. It is good. Like right now, it is very efficient. When it would start creating a problem when it would go above 20,000 or 30,000, so it would create some problem. Now you can see even though this like the laptop I'm on, it has RTX 2060, and even though still it shows a 60 fps frame rate, just because I have multiple monitors connected to it. And now the GPU can't take that much load for this these many triangles and all these entities that we have. You see, there are 18 entities that we are accessing right now. So that's how this, like, it can get very bulky, just few steps. So you need to minimize that kind of, you need to optimize. That's the idea. Right now we are not very like high on the side of the components or the hardware we use and the softwares we use. Okay, so let's just add other things. We All we need to do is just add a light that would be rotating here, you know, the the light that you saw in the uh, model that we discussed. All you need to do is just add a light. Now how you can add a light? You can just go here, search for light. This is it. A entity, light, color is this, intensity this, position this. Done. We are done with adding light. Now there's different types of light: ambient light, directional light, hemisphere, point, and spot. Now you might have guessed that right now we need spotlight for this, like this uh, lighthouse kind of, that kind of light we need right now, the spotlight. All we need to do is just add add the light. Now we have already positioned our uh, lighthouse here, so we can take the advantage of that position and we can use that position and just embed the a light, yeah, into here. And you see, you can see that as we added the light, now it's like the position, it's just started affecting everything in its path. Now what kind of light we want? We want a spotlight of yellow color, because uh, because yellow color means that this is a safe area for us, for like lighthouse. So let's just add the type of it. Okay, now you can see that this is going crazy, right? Yeah. So what we need to do is actually uh, right now we need to add some rotation to it. How do we add rotation? Like we added here in the sky animation. So just add the animation component. I'm really, I'm really like feeling that not typing these things, it's just copy and pasting it is just a bad move. But uh, I'm sorry, you just you have to just deal along with it. It's really easy. You can just understand, you can see it and understand how it works. So we need to animate the rotation property 360 degree, about like 4 second. It should like complete its animation, and it should be like infinitely rotating, like rotating infinite time. And yeah, this is easing is linear, so that It's just basically uh, doing everything. Yeah, you can see right now there is the light, but you would say that okay, but why there is nothing here? Like, why there is no such thing as any other light that we can see? So for that we need to add another light, because light, once a light is added, it starts affecting the scene. So for that we need to add another light, and we need to add this component to the light itself. I added it to the lighthouse and the lighthouse started rotating, which is weird. Now it's okay. Light is rotating now. Yeah. So let's just add another light so that we can actually see whatever like, is in our scene. So yeah, we can just go here and pop in another light of type ambient and just color this. Angle is something that you can play along, like how the inclination would affect this uh, the scene. And now you can see that, you can now see it. Let me just change the color of it, the light, the ambient light is basically the light used to light up the whole scene, that you can think of as the ambient light. So let's just change the color from white to red and see. Yeah, you can see it became all scary. So yeah, go for white. And why less? And you can increase the intensity to, let's say, right now it's 0. For 9 it would be like this. So 0.3 is good because it's about night. So yeah, this is how we added a light. It is same as in this. All we changed is the type, the color, and angle is same. If you want, you can remove the angle. It does not matter. And intensity we change. Here we have the intensity of 4, and this is 0 0.3 ambient light. Okay, and yeah, well, you don't need animation property for this ambient light, so you're good. Okay, all right, so most of the things are ready. Now we need to add the ocean. So for ocean we would learn how to add any external dependencies, sorry, any external dependencies to our scene. How we do this is this. uh, we need to search for this. So oh, oh, we need to go for ocean A-frame, and yeah, there you have it. You can see this is the, this is how, like, uh, this is how you would integrate any ocean in your scene. But for that, what you would need is actually some, like, you need to install it. Okay, so there's one thing that you can install. uh, Here's it is. One thing, you can install it using npm, that we told that would be installed on your machine. Or you can just pop in this, you can see this script tag, and all you would have to do is just pop the script tag here, and now you have that installed in your browser or in your web page. It is cd, and so yeah, all you need to do is just add this. Now, if you are not a web developer, don't just get scared or demotivated by this. I'm not a web developer myself, but this is, you can just figure out like these things. Okay. All right. Let me just see. Okay. All right. So all we need to do is just add our ocean right now. How do we do that? It's just, we have this, and now all we need to do is just add this line. Yeah, this a ocean, and we are done. Like, we have added our ocean. It won't look right now because it would be so small, and you won't be able to notice it. It would be inside our model because it would be placed on the 000, that is the origin. So let's just add the ocean, and there are other things. Okay, now let's see. This is the ocean, and we added the material for that is the color. If you hover on it, you can see there's a blue color on it. Opacity of zero point 0.5. Yeah, you can see right now we have added this ocean. And if you can't see it right now, let me just do one thing. Let me just change the color of it from this blue to actually red. Now you can see, and okay, this looks bad, but yeah, you can see that we have added the ocean and it's like moving. You can see with this. Okay, so there are other properties of it, like this is the material. Then there's the width. Now width means that how much like you want to expand it in the width. And then there's the depth part. Depth is like you can see the length of it or something. Now there's the density. The density is the amount that you would need to increase if you want to uh, if you need to increase the size of the ocean. You need to increase the density to actually make the waves visible. So let's just see what happens when we increase the density to 150. Okay, and just refresh it. You can see there's so much more detail in the mod, like water right now. When the light hits it, you can see there's so much more detail here. And just look at this. It's about 49,000. Like just increasing density with plus 100 times. Just like if you added 100 more to the density value, you increased about 10 times the like the amount of detail in that scene. So ocean is a very heavy or you can say very detailed 3D model that we are using. So we need to decrease that density, because not every like hardware that you would see can just run these many amount of triangles, you like up to 144 frame rates per second, because there are not that much hardware available. Right now it's working here, and if the GPU is working on something else, it could just make it all lag, and in 60 fps this would be so hard to render. So let's just pop it back to 50. There's the speed. If you increase the speed, let's see what happens. Let's refresh it. See, this there's the speed increased, like how fast the waves would go. That's the speed. And then there's the position visible. Yeah, you can delete this part. It should be visible or not? Yes, it should be visible. And scale, you can increase the scale so that we can use. So yes, right now here we have it, most of it settled. So this is our scene set up. Everything is just ready. All we need to do is just add the fog. Now where should we add the fog? Uh, we need to add the fog here in scene. And how we do it, we can just search for it, the fog. And you can see there's the A scene, type fog, and the color of the fog. So type is just linear or exponential. It means that when you move away or from or towards the fog, how it should like get more dense, or like how it should increase. Linear is just constant increase, and exponential is just if you are too close to it, it wouldn't affect, but if you are far, it would just affect too much. So let's just add the fog here. Yeah, you can see that's the fog. The color of the fog is this, the type is linear, and far is the value after which fog would stop taking any effect. So after 280 meters, there would be no fog. And similarly, you can add a near value, which would say after how many meters I want this fog to affect me. So let's say you want to give a visibility of 8 meters. So all you need to do is just add near 8, This would give a visibility of 8 meters, and after that, fog would start. That's just that's just how it works. Yeah, this is the scene that we thought of creating, and we have basically created it. This is the scene. You can move around. You can see the fog taking effect. The light is rotating and all. So yeah, you can just pop in VR and experience this. Yeah, that's it. Like that's we are basically done. Yeah. Now you can just look at this. We are about like 9,818 triangles. That is the amount of details in here. And one more thing, this the calls value, you want to keep it as low as possible. Now how do you do that? Now what does call mean? Basically how many calls it needs to make for the from like the GPU or the for your device to actually create your scene. Now 8 is a very good value. You need to keep it lower than 200 or 300. So how do you do that is when you have like multiple models scattered around, you can just make a like a model and just uh, embed these models into one another. So what should we do when we have like this model? We can do one thing is we can actually make these two model as a complete model, and then we can add this if we have like many other models, so that there should be only one call for these models. So like that you need to like do this. There's this ocean and all, and yeah, so we are done. And this is how we create scene in A-frame, and this is how you use any external dependency. So if you want to use any other, you can use like just that. And in this asset preloading or asset management system, you can preload any kind of thing, that is text, not text, image, audio, these 3D models, textures, any kind of things, right? So yeah, we are done. Like, yes, let me just stop my screen sharing. So that that was more than what I intended. Like the time has exceeded, but yeah, this is how we created. Oh, I there was. I'm sorry, like that. I forgot about that panel. I didn't just do that. Okay, so you can find this code on the GitHub repository that is linked in the description. Any question or anything? Uh, Now you can just go for it. I know it was a long session. It could have gotten boring or something. So if you want to share that too, if you want to say that it was boring, just go ahead, use the comment section and say. Okay.
I guess we got a really good board summarizing our event, and it's increasing. Yeah. So we learned about ambient animation. It was awesome. We learned about brackets, ocean in Aframe, glitch 3D model, and Binod also. None other than our Binod. Rig. Great. So this was really a great session. And thank you, Shubham, for your time and for your expertise and sharing your expertise with us. By the guys, Shubham just approached us like after our WebVR session that like I wanna take this session, and we were really happy. Like whenever someone comes to us, then he says that he want to share his expertise in something with others. Like it is what we call giving back to society. So we really appreciate that, Shivam, and it was really like I have also tried the A-frame, and this session was like the best for per person or a people who want to start it from scratch. So that was really grateful, and thanks for that. Okay, by the time guys you can visit this link and give us some feedback if you want session on something else, if you have any ideas like we can do a session on. then you can write it in the comment section, or after this stream also you can write it on comment section. That's not a problem. We will keep checking these comment sections, okay? And one more, before saying goodbye, one more thing, like whatever you guys make from this thing, whatever, like you make a website or a portfolio like Shubham, if you have not checked it out, you could just go to description section and check it out. It's really cool. Like you can, from there you will understand what is the power of this whole thing, okay? It contains nice portals and all. So do check out the website of Shubham, and it was really great. And coming back to, yeah, Shubham, you want to share something?
No, no. I'm just like I'm happy to see this kind of response for this. I thought I didn't actually expected like this kind of question that people would actually listen and remember what kind of like terms and all these, and like looking at this opacity glitch and all these, it looks great, man. I'm just thankful for you. I'm grateful that you guys like came to this session, and I'm really happy that I was able to just do something that you guys understood. That's a really a great achievement for me today. Thanks, man. I think Pradyumna has some net issues. Yeah.
At the stream. Okay, I guess I am visible, right?
Yeah. Right now you are visible.
I'm getting some network issue. Okay, so with this note, we end this session, and thank you guys for joining us. And if you find this YouTube session really good and helpful, do share with your friends, your relatives, and nowadays since you guys are at home, so do share it with your family members also. Let them learn something new. Okay. So with this, a very very goodbye to all of you, and we will come right back to you with some new stuff, most probably next weekend. Okay, have a nice day and bye bye.